Hello and welcome to Financial Minds Meet the Experts. I'm your host, Jamie Agostino. As you know, on this podcast, we're joined by financial industry experts to talk about topics, trends, and themes that credit union professionals need to know about. Joining me today is Bobbi Grady, Foundation Executive Director for the League of Southeastern Credit Unions and Affiliates, and Lauren Whaley, President of Carolina Credit Union Foundation. Thank you both so much for joining me today to talk about the recent devastation that hit our southern states and the credit union impact due to this recent hurricane. So thank you both for joining me to talk about this.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks.
Bobbi, what reports have you received from credit unions in your region? How is the foundation helping the credit unions, their employees, their communities, specifically maybe in Florida and Georgia that were impacted by the recent hurricane?
Yeah. The impact was heavy. First off, when it first hit, and there were a lot of power outages, of course, in the upper Florida region and throughout Georgia, with still 78,000 people without power in Georgia. So they're slowly getting things turned back on. The impacts for the most devastating part were the flooding, and those continue to happen. And as they're continuing to assess, we're seeing more and more reports about damage for that. For credit union staff, their volunteers, their communities, but also for some of the branches. Where we're able to help with the branches is really getting them up some mobile units out to them to help them continue to serve their members in the communities the best they can. And our credit unions are great. They really do take the community philosophy to heart, and they're serving meals to their communities and doing what they can do out there. And, the best part about the foundation is where we can support is getting their members up and running so they can then serve their communities. So we're along with them for the ride right now, and they are kind of seeing it through. If they can get their power on, they'll be pretty good in Georgia and kind of get things back up and running.
All right. Lauren, the impact that has been into the credit unions in the Carolinas. So I think we've all seen the photos, specifically, the Asheville area, just devastation. How is the foundation helping the credit unions and their employees in Western North Carolina and upstate South Carolina that are still, we have people without water, without power, sustained damage to the credit unions. What are you seeing and how's the foundation helping?
Sure. Yeah. Well, as Bobbi said, I think heavy is a really good word to describe the impact. It's profound in the Carolinas. The worst devastation that we have seen in our two states in a very long time. And the need from employees is significant. Last week, it took a long time for even us to get clear lines of communications with many of our credit union friends up in Western North Carolina. As you read and heard in the media too, cell phone reception was non-existent. Power, of course, was out. So the fact that communication was such a barrier for many, particularly the first part of that when the storm passed and through the weekend and into last week, we didn't get word from our final credit union that there wasn't any missing employees until Thursday of last week. So that line of communication was one of our first barriers that we had to work to get through. And with our foundation, we're providing very similar to what the folks at the Southeastern Credit Union Foundation is doing. We're hoping to get credit union employees back on their feet quickly to serve the needs of their communities and their members. So we're providing grant support to directly help with temporary housing. Many credit union employees were first forced to relocate because they had very lengthy power outages. We still have some areas that don't have power and don't have access to water. To help with gas and transportation, and of course, meal expenses. So the need from credit unions has been significant. There are many credit union employees that live paycheck to paycheck, and this is a financially devastating event for them to deal with. And for our foundation to be able to offer that financial support to help employees get back on their feet is really what makes our industry so remarkable and special. And the words of appreciation have been it helped me and my staff here at the foundation work those late nights last week to get many of the funds out the door to help our credit union employees. And of course, there's a long path to recovery for folks in the Carolinas. I anticipate after this first phase of funding from our foundation that we will probably have an additional phase of funding for those in those kind of extreme situations that lost everything. And the amount of people that were impacted, that sheer volume is just, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Well, that kind of, Lauren, that leads me into my next question. This devastation, it's going to take a while, to recover from, both physically and emotionally, for those communities. Does the foundation have a long-term plan to help these communities even past this initial phase?
Yeah, we do. So luckily, Bobbi and myself and all the other folks that kind of run state foundations in the country, we have developed guidelines associated with disaster relief funding that we put together with the National Credit Union Foundation, who runs CU Aid. And so we are going to be kind of working through the multiple levels of funding opportunities that we could provide. Again, this first phase of funding, our grants are limited to 1,500. I think Bobbi's are a little bit more. But then we anticipate an additional round of funding too for, again, those that have extreme devastation. I mean, like I said, there are some that lost their homes entirely. So, we anticipate kind of after insurance and FEMA and those additional levels of assistance, if financial need is still there, then our foundation will be able to provide that level of support.
All right.
And the damage that we've heard from credit unions, of course, credit unions have their own insurance processes as well. And then there's many other organizations out there that are providing support. I mean, NCUA is providing grants to help employees to help credit unions get back and up and running. For many of our credit unions in the western part of the state, it was, and for some still, I think even to today, they're only running drive-through locations, and some haven't been able to get their ATMs online because of power outages. So, it's been a week and a couple of days for credit unions and employees to think about the path forward, but we know that we will be there to support them and whatever efforts they may need from us in the months ahead.
Thank you. Bobbi, same question.
Yeah, so we're very similar. As Laura mentioned, we do kind of have similar guidelines. We also start with generators to credit union staff and volunteer that need them. So we've been out this week delivering those and seeing the devastation. And then we do a first round, which really helps to offset those immediate emergency supplies, critical needs that happen. And then, we are definitely looking into that long-term recovery as well. So many of our Florida people and the Georgia people, the flooding, it's just devastating. It ruins everything, then you have the mold that builds and everything that can come with that. So we'll definitely look into that to make sure that we can support them as the losses continue to rise and the count continues to go up for homes that just cannot be repaired, vehicles that can't be replaced, furniture that can't be replaced, those kind of things we look to help support as we can. So we're definitely into that. And then kind of as this new storm comes through for Florida and Milton, we'll definitely see some long-term recovery needs for them as well. And we also pull in the National Credit Union Foundation CU Aid as well for that.
One of the things that I really love about the credit union industry is just the willingness to help each other. So, Bobbi, how can others help? What can we do? Is the foundation taking monetary donations of supplies? If so, how can we do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, we're always taking monetary donations. We need to make sure that we can support our credit unions, our credit union staff, and their volunteers. We usually tend to prefer the monetary donations over supplies just because we go in and assess what supplies may be needed, and then we can use those dollars to get those supplies. Those donations can be made through our website, lscu.coop/foundation, or also if individual organization prefers CU aid is also a way to go through that. But all those donations are strictly turned around to give to those credit unions in need to help support what they're going through.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Lauren, how can we support the Carolina Foundation and the efforts? And, are you taking monetary donations as well? And if so, how can we help? What else, can we do?
Yeah. So, and just as Bobbi said, we take monetary donations, and fortunately, as you kind of described, Jamie, I mean, our industry is very giving in times of need, and particularly with disasters. That's when our people helping people philosophy really shines. And I mean, just last week we raised $375,000 for our disaster relief fund. We've now, probably after our round of grants this morning, we will have dispersed all of that money. So yes, folks can donate to the carolinas.foundation.org. We have a donate button. We take ACH and wire transfers, the same thing that Bobbi does as well. Credit cards are accepted on our website. But we've had an outpouring of support already, not only from our friends in the Carolinas, but beyond our two states as well. We had a credit union in Southern California that gave us a donation online last week. So it's just amazing to see other credit unions around the country uplifting our organization. And then, of course, CU Aid is from our National Credit Union Foundation. That will be a source of funding for both Bobbi and I as our funds are exhausted here in the Carolinas. And I anticipate that we'll probably do $500,000 in funding, if not more, just because the need is so profound. And the devastation is so widespread across our two states.
Lauren, anything else you'd like to share with us today about the Foundation's hurricane relief efforts?
No, I mean, just that we're here. I mean, between the foundation and, of course, our trade association, the Carolinas Credit Union League, we single-handedly reached out to every single impacted credit union last week to hear firsthand how they were doing and to let them know that we're here to support them and whatever need that may be. So if we can help in any way, to please give us a call and let us know what your needs may be. Funny story, we even had one of our employees at the trade association help find porta-johns for their staff at a credit union because they didn't have running water. So I mean, we go above and beyond to help our credit unions succeed. And if there's anything that we can do, we're always there to help.
Wonderful. Thank you. Bobbi, what else would you like to share today with our audience about the foundation and these relief efforts?
Yeah, so I feel like Lauren and I just kind of echo the same thing. But I mean, I think it is, for us, the devastation is not nearly as impactful as it was for the Carolinas. But we will give out probably over $100,000 in disaster relief. And as Milton continues, who knows what that could bring. But it is truly people helping people. And I want to thank all those that support us and make sure we can do what we do. And for our credit unions, just know that we're there to support. It is all hands on deck for the league and for the foundation. We drive U-Hauls. We do whatever we can do to get you what you need when you need it. So we're there to support our family, our credit unions, and their staff in times of need. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We'll be reaching out to you. We want to make sure you're okay. So be on the lookout for a call from us. And Lauren, we're here to support you however you need. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us as well.
Thank you, Bobbi. We'll be thinking about you guys with Hurricane Milton approaching.
Yeah.
Well, I personally just want to thank you both because I know you've been working some long hours, to support the credit unions in the Carolinas as well as Georgia and Florida. And it's appreciated. So again, if there's anything else Viso Financial can do, please let us know because we're always willing to be right there with our credit unions as well. So thank you both so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you, Jamie. And we appreciate Viso's support. We do. And thanks for help spreading the word of the work that Bobbi and I are doing in our respective states to help credit unions and to help the employees get back on their feet, because it's yeah, it's a lot.
Well, before we even started recording, I mean, you said just last week you processed over 200 applications and you had another 100 on Friday and Saturday that you're getting through, and you haven't even looked at what you got since then. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what to say. Thank you. Thank you for doing what you do.
Absolutely. We're here to help.
All right. This episode of Financial Minds Meet the Experts is brought to you by Viso Financial's blog. Did you know Viso Financial has a blog? It's true. Our blog consists of articles written by our experts on staff as well as our partner organizations. We cover topics all credit unions need to know, including the economy, cybersecurity, payments, leadership, DEI, and so much more. We release articles on a weekly basis. You can subscribe to the blog and have them sent straight to your email. Our most recent blog article celebrates credit unions and reminds us all of the importance of International Credit Union Day and See You Kind Day. So please read that article by visiting the resources page of Viso Financial's website at www.vfccu.org. As always, thanks for listening and make it a great day.